one of the reasons why I'm here is on October 19th, there's going to be a very famous group that's coming here to Kearney. And the group is called the Turtle Island String Quartet. Isn't that a cool name, Turtle Island? Yeah.
Kind of like Cortez.
Yeah. Yeah, the quartet, and Turtle Island is very famous. They've been together for over 25 years, been playing music together. And they're a wonderful group. And the quartet is made up of string instruments, of which this is one. And so I already told you what this is, you remember, yeah? It's a bass. Okay, this is a bass. You pay the bass? Oh, far out. So this is the bass. There are 3 other instruments that are bowed string instruments, right? That means that use this. Well, who can think of any other string instrument? Any instrument, any musical instrument with strings? Yeah, your hands up first, yeah?
Violin.
Violin.
Guitar.
Guitar.
Cello.
Cello.
The electric guitar.
The electric guitar. Viola. What is it with you guys and violas? Viola's always the last one to be gotten, and you guys get it right away. Yeah, viola. Viola's like
A violin.
like a violin, but bigger. Yes.
A banjo.
A banjo. Good one. Drums don't have snare drums have got snares at the bottom, but we're talking about bowed string instruments. Yeah.
Ukulele.
Ukulele's another string instrument. We're missing a big one. Bass guitar, and one of my favorites is a big one. Yeah.
A harp.
A harp. Yeah, harp. Very good. Yeah. So these are all members of the string family, and in the string family, the ones that play with the bow are the violin, which is played like this. You all know, yes, under the chin, yeah. Right? And the viola, which is also played under the chin, and the cello. The cello. It's where you sit down to play, and this is the bass, which is the you stand up, or you can sit on a stool. So the bass is hollow, right?
Yes.
So it's not too heavy. Maybe 15 pounds, maybe. This bass, like many basses, I call this bass Charlie. Hi, Charlie. Charlie says hello too. The reason I call him Charlie is he was made by a man named Charles Kenwell. And Charles Kenwell was an instrument maker in Paris, France. And this was made in about 1942 in Paris for the Radio France Orchestra. And you can see, if you look up here, you see there's a stamp there that says RF54. Can you see that right there? This bass was made for Radio France, and then underneath it, C.H. Kenwell for Charles Kenwell. So, it's made of? Wood. But special kinds of wood. There's a special kind of tone wood. Yes? Do you know the kind of wood?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Starwood.
Starwood?
Yeah.
No, not starwood. The top is made of spruce. Spruce, the wood spruce. Do you know the airplane, the Spruce Goose?
Yes.
It was very famous. Okay, the Spruce Goose is made of spruce. You say that 5 times fast. The bass was made of spruce also. The top of the bass is made of spruce. Spruce is considered to be what we call a tone wood. And many of the floors in many of the concert halls are made of spruce because when you put the bass on the floor or the cello on the floor, it vibrates really, really well. So it's a tone wood. So the top is spruce, the sides and the back are made of maple. How many people here have seen a maple tree? No, maple tree, yeah. What do you know about a maple tree? What do maple trees do? What do they have?
They have like syrup inside of it.
Okay, some have, yes, some have syrup, especially in the Northeast, and they also have they're the ones with the whirlybirds. You know the little whirlybirds? They have the two little seeds that come down and go. That's the maple tree. So the back and the sides are made of maple, and the top is made of spruce. The bridge is made of maple. This is called the tailpiece. The tailpiece and the fingerboard are made of, you can see it's a black wood. This is not dyed wood. It's a very, very dense wood called ebony. Ebony, yeah. And ebony comes from Brazil and also from Africa. It's a very dense wood. And so we have ebony, spruce, maple. And then a friend of mine who heard me play this summer in Kansas City made the end pin for me. And that's made out of a really special exotic wood called bloodwood. And then we have the strings. And these strings are now made of steel strings. They used to be made of gut years ago. And we used to say that they were made of, and it was really intestines. It was really the intestines of an animal. But the bass strings are too big. They used to say that violin strings are made of cat gut. They called them the cat. There's even an organization called the Cat Gut Society. But that wasn't true. They didn't make them out of cat because the cat's guts aren't long enough to make a string. They're usually made of sheep's. And the bass strings were made out of cow intestines long time ago. So that's the bass. And this we call the bow. And we have two different kinds of wood on the bow. This looks familiar. The black stuff is the same as this, which is, do you remember? Begins with an E, yes? Do you remember? Black like your dress? This?
Yeah.
No.
It kind of looks like it back here.
It's made of hair.
Made
Yeah.
of horsehair.
It's made of horsehair. That's right. It comes from made of horsehair. And this is ebony. And this wood on the top has got a very funny name, and it comes from Brazil. Some bows are made of, actually, they call it Brazil wood, but this is called Pernambuco. Pernambuco wood. And Pernambuco wood is endangered now, and it's very rare, and so they don't allow the cutting of the trees anymore, Pernambuco wood. And of course, the bass, being the biggest instrument, is the highest instrument. It's the one that plays higher than all the other instruments, right?
No, it's the lowest.
Right, it's the lowest. It plays the lowest because it's so big. It's so big. It's so big and so low. So when you see this instrument, you know what style is? Who can name a style of music?
Beethoven?
Okay, Beethoven's a composer, and he wrote in a particular style. What style did Beethoven write in? Yeah, what kind of music did Beethoven write?
Jazz?
Jazz is a style of music, but Beethoven wasn't around yet because jazz is very, very unique. Jazz was invented in the United States. And Beethoven was dead before the United States was really the United States. Yeah. Classical music. Yes, Beethoven played classical music. Classical music is one kind of music. Jazz is another kind.
Rock.
Rock is another kind. Do you remember that tune? Beat It, right? Remember that? Yeah. Michael Jackson. Yeah? That's pop. Okay, so that's pop, and pop usually has a repeating bass line of some kind. And then we have there's the country tunes, and sometimes country tunes, really old country tunes, not the cool stuff that you listen, in the truck with, but the old stuff used to have what we called slap bass. Oh, I'm an Okie from Muskogee, and I'm a dee ba-ba-doo, baby dee, ba-ba-dee, ba-ba-doo, ba-ba-dee, dee, ba-ba-doo, do-do-do-do-dee. Right, old slap bass. Yeah. And then we have just regular country. This plays the bass normally. Now, when we play with our fingers, and we pluck the string like this, like a slap bass, we have a special name for that when we play one of these instruments. And it's an Italian word. It's an Italian word I like very much because it reminds me of a great Italian food. What is your favorite Italian food?
Pizza.
Pizza! Yes, pizza. And you have to think pizza and meow. Cat. It's called pizzicato. You say that? Pizzicato. Pizzicato. This is pizzicato. You all. We call that a boogie woogie bass line. Yeah, that's a boogie woogie bass line. And you mentioned jazz. In jazz, we have a special kind of bass line. So, like the Michael Jackson was a pop tune, right? So that's a pop. We call that a groove. A pop groove. He was the king of pop, right? So that's a groove, okay? When we play jazz, we groove, but we don't play a repetitive bass line. We play something like this. On the bass. Do you know what we call this kind of bass line? What do my fingers look like they're doing?
Walking.
This is called a walking bass line. And that was called the blues, a walking bass line. There's another style that I think, because you guys are a little bit older, you might like to hear. This is a style that became famous in the U.S. in the 1950s with a wonderful saxophone player by the name of Stan Getz. And the bass line sounds like this. And it's called bossa. Bossa. Say that? Bossa. Bossa. Like bossa nova, right? It's a very beautiful kind of bass line. It kind of bounces a little bit. And the bossa comes from Brazil. And then also comes from Brazil the samba, which is normally played much faster, like the bossa. That's called the samba. Samba? Bossa. Bossa, samba. Cool. So, we talked about, at the beginning, about the Turtle Island group coming, the Turtle Island String Quartet.
Yes.
So they're coming, and their speciality is playing lots of different styles. When you think of classical composers, who's the first one that comes to mind?
Beethoven.
Right? Right, Beethoven, yeah? Who was before Beethoven? Can you think of another one? Mozart, yeah. One of Mozart's best friends, who was a little bit older, his name was Haydn. And Haydn invented the string quartet. And in fact, Mozart played in Haydn's string quartet, and Mozart played the viola in Haydn's string quartet. Isn't that cool? So, so they're going to come with 4 string instruments, and we just have the one here. So I thought I would play some different music for you, some different styles, and show you some of the things that the bass can do. So I think what I would like to do is I would like to start by playing a violin piece for you, because with the bass has been used to, because it's so low, it's normally used to accompany other people. Right? You see a bass, either an electric bass or an acoustic bass, in a jazz band, in a classical band, in a pop band. You see them in all different kinds of bands, but they're always accompanying, they're always playing the low part. So when we have to play the high part, we don't always have a lot of music written for us. So you know what we do? We steal music from other instruments and play it ourselves. And so this is a violin piece. I'm going to play a Baroque piece that was written about the time of Bach. Written about the time of J.S. Bach, and I'm going to play it 2 ways. The first time I'm going to play it very simply, and I want you to listen very closely for how simply I play it, and then the second time, I'm going to fancy-fry it. To clap a little. So what was the difference? What did I do? Yeah.
You move your fingers faster.
I moved my fingers faster. So I came to the main notes right on time, but I filled them in with a bunch of fancy stuff. Yeah? And that's called ornamentation. Isn't that cool? Okay, so me qui, si passa, till donc. Me qui, si passa, till donc. And basically what that means is, what's up? What's up? What's up with you? How you do? Yeah? And so it's a story of a student, right? A young person on the playground, right? And he's eager to see you and say hello, but he gets the hiccups. and it goes higher and higher and higher, and finally get to the top of this slide, and it's like one of those huge, big ones like you have at swimming pools sometimes, or sometimes at the playground, and it's really, really high, and the base goes really, really high up here, and you go, wow! And then you come all the way down to the bottom of the slide, and you fall down, boop, at the bottom. But then you say again, I'm okay. I still got the hiccups though, right? And that's how the piece ends, okay? So I want you to listen for all those little bits. The tune isn't long, but it's called Mais qui se passe donc? What's up? Okay, here we go. Here we go, you ready? Could you hear all of that? I'm going to play something for you that I haven't played in a while for the other students, something special for you. Who can tell me what an opera is? It's about a story with singing. And there's an orchestra, and there's singers on stage, and there's a very, very famous opera written by a French composer named Bizet, and the opera is called Carmen. And Carmen is about this very tough woman. And she's in love with two men at the same time. This happens sometimes. And, but the opera is very cool because it's got smugglers. You know, smugglers, guys that are trying to smuggle stuff. It's got pirates, and it's got soldiers. So it's got about everything you could possibly want in an opera. The opera is called Carmen. And a friend of mine named Frank Proto from Cincinnati, Ohio, wrote a piece called A Carmen Fantasy for bass, where he took some of the melodies that the singers sing and gave it to the bass. So I'd like to begin with the prelude. And the prelude is the beginning. It just gives you a taste of what's to come. And it's got lots of cool things in it. And I just want to point your attention to a couple of them. When I play more than one note at the same time, that's called a double stop. You see that? Double stop. Double stop, because I'm stopping two notes, yeah? It's got double stops in it. It's got fast runs. Fast runs means I'm moving my fingers fast, very quickly. And then the other thing it's got harmonics. And we listened to harmonics before. It's where we touch the string very lightly, and they're normally very high. But this has special harmonics. These harmonics, where I touch the string lightly and go high just on one string with one finger, are called natural harmonics. But this piece has artificial harmonics, where I have to play the harmonic by pressing with one finger and finding the harmonic with the other at the same time. So it's got runs, double stops, and false harmonics. Okay, here we go. This is the prelude to a Carmen fantasy. And so you want to think about, oh, I forgot to tell you, there are also bullfighters in this too. What do you call the bullfighter, the real name for the bullfighter? No, not like a rodeo clown. A real bullfighter in Spain. What is his name? Do you remember? It begins with a T. He is a... No, he is a toreador. Do you know this? Toreador. And he goes, ole, yes? It says toreadors. And maybe if we have time, I play some of the toreador stuff. This is the prelude. Are you ready? It's very big. It starts very big, very strong. Very, very, very for the boys, yes. That's how the beginning starts. So then I want to play just a little bit of the Toreador theme for you, because this is the Toreador. He's getting ready to go into the ring with the bull. And you all know how big a bull is, right? They're huge, thousands of pounds, these animals. And so he's beginning to put on a red jacket and his hat that looks a little bit like a Mickey Mouse hat. It's kind of silly. It's got these kind of ears on it. And then he's got his sword right inside the red cape. And then he has very, very tight pants on. He's getting himself ready to be brave, to fight the bull. And then he says, "Ole," that's right. So this is the Toreador song from Carmen. We play a little bit of this. Yay! Thank you all so very much for coming, and don't forget about the Turtle Island String Quartet concert when it comes up in your teacher's table, because it's free for you to go. Free concert, and it'll be great. Thank you so much.